All right, so we're back with another segment. We've been sitting down for the most part of the day with the beautiful property you have here, and we wanted to come out and show, kind of some of the natural beauty that we have here in Lake Charles.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about some of the capabilities that you have with this property out here.
Sure. Well, you heard me talk about the Lake City.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Lake City, this is part of the Lake City. This is the Calcasieu River this way, and it turns into English Bayou here.
Okay.
And then Coyote Cool is down that way. This is Gosport. Gosport was named after Captain Daniel Goss. He was a German gentleman that moved to the Lake Charles area in the 1850s, 1860s. Mm-hmm. This area used to grow yellow leaf pine. Mm-hmm. Yellow leaf pine was harvested. It was a great lumber to build anything. So what Captain Goss did was he would harvest the yellow leaf pine, put it in the river, and he would float the pine all the way up to the lakefront. And the lakefront had all these mills, so they would mill the boards into lumber and ship it all over the country.
Okay.
But the irony is that the places like Charpentier District, Margaret Place, all the historic districts were built with wood that was harvested from the northern part of Lake Charles. Mm-hmm. So the city's always had this connection, this symbiosis about it. And so, but the oldest parts of the city are the highest and driest. So we're actually on a high. This is probably the second highest ridge in Calcasieu Parish. So
really?
Even though this is close to the water, the highest the water has ever gotten is about as far as this where we are standing right here.
Really?
The rest of this has never flooded. Mm-hmm. And when I first moved here, the surveyor told me, I was telling him, I said, look, it's flood insurance. He said, no, your flood's on next. I said, yeah, but I take your word for it, but I need to. He said, Mr. Simien, he said, if the water's ever at your front door, he said, go look for the guy building the ark. The animals have gathered in twos.
It's over with. It's over with, huh?
So if you have these kind of areas that have this kind of resiliency, why wouldn't you invest in them? I mean, we've already, over the years, the infrastructure is already here. Mm-hmm. It's already shown that it can handle the population. Mm-hmm. And then you've got areas that you can grow without having to go out further. Mm-hmm. And those areas can, once they regenerate, that becomes part of the fabric of a community and strengthens our Lake City.
Wow, yeah. And you're talking about the strengthening of our Lake City, with the connections of the waterways and the capabilities that we have, what would you say it would take for somebody to have the vision to be able to maximize that potential?
I think people have the vision, and it's a matter of investment. I've tried to tell people how beautiful this area is.
Yeah.
And people want to invest in areas where they think there's going to be beauty. Mm-hmm. I remember some of my friends at Graywood, they had to evacuate Graywood because there was a fire at a plant. Yeah. And they would ask me, so Marshall, you stay by the water, do the plants bother you? I said, well, look, I'm surrounded by plants. Yeah. I said, but all my plants are made by God. Yeah. They capture carbon and they produce oxygen. Yeah. So we have to look beyond the natural and start looking at the blessings that we have. Mm-hmm. And once you start looking at things with those eyes, you see things a whole lot different. Yeah. I mean, when I came out here, I could have moved anywhere in Lake Charles. Why did I want to move here? Well, first of all, I grew up in the northern part of Lake Charles, but the people here are real. I mean, I feel comfortable and safe around people that I've known all my life, but I feel comfortable and safe anywhere else. But I hear people saying, oh, this about the northern part, that about the northern part. And then when I got on the city council, we sit in these meetings with the police department going over the crime statistics, and come to find out the northern part of Lake Charles at the time was the second safest place in the city. Wow. There's crime everywhere else. And it's not because of anything other than where people are going to go wherever things are going to happen. But we have to think in terms of not just this section versus that section. It's a body. You can't, you can't, if you don't have a right hand, you can't clap with your left hand.
Yeah, you're right. That's it, and talking about that, and I want you to expand on that, because the stigma that goes along with North Lake Charles is that it's not safe, that it is crime-stricken, it's poverty and things of that nature. What are some of the things that people don't know about North Lake Charles? I
don't think they know that the community is really together. We there's the same values everywhere. People concerned about crime. they want the schools to perform better. You know, they don't tolerate foolishness.
Yeah.
And so you have crime everywhere. I mean, I've seen some pretty heinous crimes all over the city that shocked me. But I've seen communities take the same approach. Look, we're going to call the police, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But the biggest thing that you see here was that we had a recreation structure that was pretty strong. I thought it was second to none. Growing up, you had gospel basketball. No matter what was going on, the kids, it was a big deal to go and play basketball at Gosport or go to the swimming pool or do things like that. And that energy was focused on that. And people would, they would socialize and get along. You know, you had your normal arguments, usually over, that's my girlfriend or things like that. But for the most part, everybody got together. And so as we started getting away from that, that energy started, the streets are always waiting for an opportunity to take that energy. So we've been able to the family structure was pretty strong because, I mean, if I got in trouble on my street, it wasn't because my parents caught me doing something, it was because one of the neighbors, and they would call me out, and then I had to deal with their retribution, and then my parents
got on you,
and we just raised each other like that, you know. But as the family structure has been under attack, and now you've got these kind of issues, now the children are kind of out there doing themselves, you know. The economies have gotten to where now both parents have to work. So who's watching the children? Who's raising the children? And when you get home, if the children are getting what's left over, that's going to affect you generationally too. So this area is no different than any other place. But unfortunately, the bad news gets pronounced and the good news gets subverted. But if you go, that's why when I was on the city council, I put Riverside Park over there because people never knew that this, a lot of people come back here, they say, man, I didn't even know this was here. It's been here since Earth was created.
It's been here. It's been here since been here, you know.
And we have these assets and resources all over our city, not just in North Lake Charles, but I mean, you go everywhere. I said the Lake City, but we need to celebrate it more, and we need to define it more and understand it more so we can truly embrace it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, with the new wave of the youth, keeping the youth involved, and I think, you know, having them come together and say what it is that they want to see, because we're moving into a transition phase where the youth is no longer the youth. They're the young adults. They're the parents. And so what would you say to the young adults that are now, that were youth, you know, they've seen the changes. They've seen, you know, what we've been through and the challenges we face. What would you say to them moving forward?
I tell them, focus on the human condition. I mean, I think we're the most resilient creation that God has ever made. No matter what you're going through, if you truly navigate it, you can make it through.
Correct.
And children are, I mean, that's two, I say there's some blessings that we were given. The ability to create life with no cost. I mean, you don't have to go and get a job. You can create life. But do you understand what responsibility comes with that?
Correct.
And once people understand that, because I can tell you, me and my wife, we weren't going to have children. We were like on this career. We were on the hamster wheel. That's just going to slow us down. So we said, well, let's have one like it was a pet. And then when we had my son, and we locked eyes, Donnie, the whole book of Genesis came open. I said, this is who I work for. Everything I go through every day, this is what I do.
This is it.
But we've gotten away from that because the grown-up human condition has interfered with the ability of the child to experience the full human condition. How many children are growing up without father figures?
Yes, correct.
How many young ladies don't have strong men in their lives to tell them that, look, dressing like so-and-so is just not that way. Viewing yourself as some object of desire is not cool at all. I have that conversation with my daughter every day, and she understands not who I want her to be, but she understands who she was created by God to be.
You know, and when you take in a look at what we have out here, you take in a look at, you know, you got this waterway access, you have natural beauty, scenes. I mean, Lake Charles really is a destination. It really is, and I think it needs to be sold as such.
Donnie, how many places have this kind of thing? I mean you go anywhere else in the country and see places like this, you can't afford them. You can't build on them. They're all developed and taken up.
Yeah.
We enjoy this every day. On any weekend during the summer, you'll see jet skis, boats, everything else. You'll see people having parties and stuff like that. And yet we get caught up in the minutia of I don't want you in my neighborhood, or you know, you're not gonna turn into anything when you grow up. And I truly believe that the cure for some of the biggest things that we're facing is sitting in the talent that's not being harvested. And we as a society have to bring that together. And I think collectively, as the city of Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana, we're on the cusp of being able to harvest that. But we just have to put foolishness aside and come together with a focus. So this whole exercise, I just want us to have the grown-up conversations that I think are necessary for us to truly move forward in a direction that we need to go.
That's good. You know, and I think understanding and knowing the direction that we need to head in, and understanding the direction we were heading in, because if you don't know how to read the map, you'll keep going the wrong way. You know, so that's great. So we're going to wrap this session up. Again, we're going to come back with another segment, and we're going to dive deep more into why you feel you are the perfect candidate right now for the new Lake Charles. You know, what we said earlier, a new wind is blowing in.
A stronger Lake Charles.
A stronger Lake Charles. So we're going to come back, check out some more, and we'll be back with Envision Lake Charles with Marshall Simien. Boom. That's it. That's right. You know, so